Hi, my name is Tom. I'm an artist here at Greeting Card Universe. I'm going to go through some basics of how to create a card. So here I am in my graphics program. I've just finished a card for July 4th, 2011, and I'm just about ready to upload it to Greeting Card Universe. So a couple things I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I have all of my layers collapsed down into one layer. I want to make sure my dimensions match the GCU template, which is 1500 pixels wide, 2100 pixels tall. I want to make sure that I'm using RGB color, and I want to make sure that I'm using JPEG file format. Okay, so now I'm going to save as, and I'm going to change this to final, do a save. And now I got the card pretty much ready to be uploaded. So let me go over to Greeting Card Universe. So here we are at the home page. Now once you're logged in, some of these links up at the top here will be specific to the artist community. So what you want to do is go to the Manage Store link. This will bring up your administration settings page, which is pretty much the home page for the artists for managing your store and creating cards. So here it is now. Administrative settings has all the information. You probably have been here and kind of familiar with what's there. To create a card is under the Images and Cards pull down menu. We'll click on that. This will take us over to what's called the Upload page, where we can select files from our computer and upload those to the site. So here we are at the Create a Card page. You can see it allows us to upload up to 5 different files in one upload process. Gives us information about the file format, which we went over, JPEG, RGB. One important thing is the file size can't be any higher than 3.85 megabytes. So if yours are larger than this, you can go into your JPEG settings on your program, your graphics program, and increase the compression slightly, and that'll drop down the file size. So let's go up into download or upload our file. I can either click on the browse, or I can just double click in the gray box here. So I'm up in my tutorial section. I know I have a file I called July 4th 2011 final. We'll select that one, double click on the upload button. It gives us this processing images progress message. It'll also give us potentially give us a white page here saying processing. And when the file is uploaded, you'll see your image in the file upload space. If you've had other cards that you've uploaded and worked on, those will also be filled into this area here. I happen to keep my space relatively clean. You also get a quality rating along the underside of the card here. If you've used the recommended resolution of 2100 by 1500, you'll get a green best rating, which means it'll print pretty much at the quality level that the printer itself uses. If you uploaded a lower resolution image, this rating will be somewhat lower. So you really want to strive to be up in this green area here. Now you can either hit the select button here, or just click on the card. Now this will bring you up to a card images detailed page, and what you'll see is if you developed a card prior to this, the title, the keywords, the artist notes will all carry over from the prior card. This is to kind of improve your productivity if you're designing a number of cards for a particular holiday, for instance. You don't have to be constantly retyping in a lot of the basic information. Now, you certainly don't want to just use these exact values. You want to customize them for the particular new card that you've designed here. So let me just start with this and tell you that on the title is the most important set of information that you're going to need for your card. Not only does it indicate what it'll for shoppers who see it in your store or on the site, it's also the most important set of words that are used by search engines both on the site and on the internet to find your card. So you don't want to name this card, July 4th card, because there's a million cards out there like that. You may want it to be pretty specific, so someone who's searching on something that might be unique to your card, you can identify that in the title. You definitely need to have July 4th in the title. You also need, in my case, I'm going to have the word nostalgic, and the word vintage. And I'm going to with the word flag. So those are the kind of the things that people are looking for an older card. I'm going to use some of the words that they're going to probably use in their search clues or search terms when they do their search. I'm going to use those same terms down here in the keyword area, but I'm also going to add the word flag, which gives a little bit more description of, well, I guess I have flag up here, but keep it down in here. I'm also going to add the word fourth, because some people type in the word fourth, and they also use the word for, F-O-U-R. So what I'm trying to do is trying to anticipate some of the words that they would use in some cases to find it, but not necessarily clutter the whole title up with that. You want to have the title be relatively short and sweet, but still pretty descriptive. If you make it very long, it's going to show up as a long title in your store, and it starts to look kind of sloppy. Now the artist notes area, if you have something you want to tell the shopper about, they might be curious, like, oh, what is that in that picture, or where was that, or so forth. You can describe that there. It's really only used for communication between you and the shopper. Now if you have one of the things the reviewers are very curious about, or not, they're concerned about, is if you really own everything that's in this image. Certainly we can't be cutting and pasting things we find on the internet and using them in our card, clip art and so forth. You really have to own the art that's on your card. So if there's any question about that, you can type that in there. So in this case, I'll say to the reviewer, photo is from our family album. And that should be suitable for them. Now let's continue down here. So I got our keywords, the image by and the card finish are what I have in my global settings. Now the categorization is pretty important. If you look, we have over 10,000 categories, so there's certainly lots of places that you might think you could put this card. But since it is a library, it's very important to have the card exactly where a shopper is going to want to expect to find it. In this case, it's going to be in the holiday category, and then in the July 4th subcategory. So let's look at that. So we have 7 basic categories, and since I know this is a holiday card, I'm really going to focus on the holiday section. If I go down here, I'm going to find the 4th of July right here. Click on that. There's 1,371 cards currently, but there's also a number of subdirectories. Vintage, nostalgic style. So I'm going to put in this vintage nostalgic section. There's 29 cards there currently, so mine's going to be pretty easy to spot right away if it's in that category. Alright, so I see that I've selected that. That looks good, but you do have to do this add up on top, and then it'll put it in here. I can select a second category, but I'm just going to do one for this particular card. Alright, everything looking good. I'm going to move on and hit, oh, look at this. It told me I need to check the box indicating I have the rights to the image. That's this red section down here. Alright, since I already know that I own all this imagery, I will check this box. Here we are at the card inside text area. Now we really only have the rights to make changes to the card inside in this right pane here. Now if I just click next or skip at this point, it would make the inside blank. But blank cards don't belong in the regular category spaces. They belong in only 2 areas. One is the under collections, there's a blank card category, and under collections there's also a note card category. In the regular library, shoppers are expecting there to be a verse inside the cards, so we need to put one there. They can always erase the verse and make it a blank card before they order it, but as far as cards that go into the general spaces in the card library, we need to have a verse. So let's click on that pane. Now what'll come up will be, just like in the title and the keyword area, will be the verse that you had on the prior card you designed. It'll have the same words, it'll have the same color, the same font, the same size. Now if you're making a series of 4th of July cards, this can be a very efficient way to add additional cards. But if you have something that's unique to this card, you can make those changes. So maybe I'll say on this one, plan to wave the flag. Alright, I can also change the color. When I change the color, it'll change all the colors of all the text. You can't do individual words or individual characters. We're going to leave it this maroon color here. You can select a different font. However, not all of them are going to show up as something unique up in this screen above. Some do, some don't. And that has to do with just some limitations that exist in this graphical interface here. Okay, I'm going to make it this Bible style here, and I'm gonna, let's try 20 for the font size. And then before I go on, I want to make sure that I've spelled everything right. You know, it looks okay to me, but maybe the spell checker will find something. So you definitely want to hit the spell checker up top here to see if it catches anything. And sure enough, it caught old-fashioned. It wasn't in the dictionary. So I'll click on that. It probably doesn't like that hyphen in between there. It's not saying it's wrong, but it doesn't have any suggestions. I'm going to say I'm going to keep it together because I do know those generally belong together, and hyphenation is certainly acceptable. So everything looks good there. And let's say I save it. Alright. Inside verse here, I can do a large view, and that looks nice and clean, just exactly the way I want it to print out on the real card. If I have any issues with grammar and punctuation, there is some help on some of the common errors through this link here. What you really want to do is you want this card to go up to the review team and not have a single error in it. If it does have a spelling error, a grammar error, or punctuation error, it's going to be sent back to you. You're going to have to fix it before it's going to get approved. So to save yourself time, save the reviewers time, take the extra step here to double check your work, make sure everything is right. Don't expect the reviewers to make any changes, because they are not allowed to make any of your changes on the inside of your card. And so you might as well put the effort in at this point. Make sure it's as good as you can get it, and then submit it. So I hit the next button. It'll show up in my managed card space. You can see it has a product ID assigned. The status is pending submitted. I'm now double checking everything I have in the text that I entered. Keywords, category looks right. All the defaults are correct. Inside text looks good. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. Now I can move on to my next card.